But hey, again, all part of the game, so that leaves us in a little bit of a crossroads here, because what the heck do we wish to do with the rest of the evening? This was definitely originally going to be a little bit of a shorter stream, or a stream on the shorter side at least. But we definitely still have a little bit of time, a bit more wiggle room here, so we'll probably jump back in with another run, try and reclaim some of our dignity and our honor after so embarrassingly losing our favorite elf friend. But it begs the question, what type of run do we want to do next? I could pivot back to a ranged character, and you know, we've been doing ranged formicids, I feel, over and over again for the last long while, so maybe we'll change it up a bit and potentially head the Barachi direction instead. Of course, with the frog people here, got to keep in mind that we move pretty slowly, so we can't really run away from encounters. Fortunately, we do have a little bit of a short-ranged, kind of pseudo-controlled blink in our leap, so that can definitely sometimes get us out of a troubling spot. And most importantly, and why I like to choose them as ranged characters, they have an extended range of vision, so they can actually see a bit further than any other character in the game, down to 9 tiles instead of the traditional 7. And so that allows us to get a couple of extra turns of firing off ranged weaponry, sometimes even being able to take care of like spellcasters that have dangerous spells before they get into range, so it can definitely work out pretty nicely. And I think that we will try that out. I'm always shocked that Hunter is not a recommended background for these Sons of Guns, because it's definitely one of my favorites. And, you know, I do have to pull up on the side here. I was feeling optimistic as we went into the stream here today, so I did not pull up any of the required things for starting off new runs, but we'll just get that open on the side here while my mind frantically tries to come up with some kind of clever frog name. I mean, we can't just keep naming them in the most basic way possible, right? Just frog? Is that acceptable? I feel like we have to get creative at some point. We've definitely had like Kermits before. Are there any other famous frogs? Not many. Again, there's the frog and the toad, but that frog is just named Frog, so maybe we were on to something from the start, and we do just go back to basics, and there's nothing to be lost or gained. I'm just gonna check my phone as I get a notification here as well, but you know, sometimes we're just not creative, even if it goes on for multiple weeks here. Oh, but Dr. Pirate coming in with the save. I appreciate it. Michigan J Frog. We'll go for it. I don't know, actually. Hold up. We might have to go back one in order to not have the enter pre-selected, because that's the only way that we can actually get any spaces in the name, so we can definitely do that. Gazarian as well with the suggestion of Glenn, so we have a nice little backup here if the worst should come to pass, which, I mean, of course it won't. We'll 100% lead this good old Michigan J Frog to victory, but you know, we'll have that in the back of our minds in case the unthinkable should happen. But there we go. We'll get our skills sorted, of course, auto pickup as well, a lot of the traditional stuff all set up, and last but not least, we will send out the dump file so I can go over on the other monitor, blind myself with the text editor here, and most importantly, plop the new seed up on screen for any of you lovely folks who play along at home, and you can see how you fare in the same dungeon here. Okie dokie. Let's get to it, shall we? Oh, no, I do not want Hop as my main quick quiver skill, so we'll swap that over to actually using the bow that we've been carrying around. That's wonderful. Glenn is the frog from Chrono Trigger. Oh, nice. Chrono Trigger is a game that I've heard a lot about, but never actually had the opportunity to check out myself. I feel like in the extremely long list of games that I would like to check out at some point. I must have had it on that list at some point, as my brain shuts down and is unable to communicate any thoughts or words here, so apologies for that. I guess I should be careful apologizing too much for that, because it does seem to be a habit that I oftentimes get into on these streams. Excuse me, all my butterfly friends, I do not mean you any harm, but I would like to explore through the little cavern here. Fantastic. And let's see how we fare in just getting this run started out. Ooh, a Faded Altar is an interesting start. We can definitely take a peek. It's McLeb, Nemlex, and Ashen's. So unfortunately, too many of those gods we've already won with, so we're just going to have to pass on that for the moment here. And continue to keep on keeping on here. Fantastic. I'm hoping we don't have too many troubles in the first few floors of the dungeon. We're able to make it through in one piece. I do kind of want to open up this little vault area, but maybe we wait till we're much too overpowered to be dealing with all those enemies, and then we can feel a bit more comfortable in doing so. Fantastic. Still just reeling from the previous loss here, but trying to put it to the side and just focus on the new life that we've been given, the second try with good old Michigan here. And definitely is a fantastic second try so far. Not too shabby whatsoever. Able to clear out the first couple floors of the dungeon without any near-death experiences, so we're already looking a bit more comfortable than many of our previous characters, at least in recent memory here. So that is wonderful. UF, I'm so sorry for waking you up. I will not disturb your household though, and just leave you for the time being. And not too shabby here whatsoever. Also, somehow, at least for the moment here, remembering to not run away from fights. When we don't have the move speed to do so, it can very quickly be detrimental to our health to do so. And so hopefully we can keep that in the back of our minds and don't end up making too many foolish mistakes as we continue forward. Ring of Fire and a Ring of Ice, so we at least have some conditional resistances, even if they're not ideal by any stretch. Dexterity Ring, on the other hand, I can immediately put on, and that will start paying dividends in both our evasion and our ability to deal damage with the bow, so that is wonderful. And here's where we have to break that rule a little bit. Take a couple steps while we just have the weaker jackals next to us, just to make sure that we don't get completely and totally surrounded by the oncoming onslaught. And that is perfect. Oh, Shadow Dragon Scales on D3? Holy moly. I mean, I think they're going to be too heavy for us to really use. Encumbrance rating of 15 is definitely a bit on the high side when it comes to ranged characters. But it's very cool to find that this early on. That's definitely not something that we usually expect to see in the early dungeon. And really, if at all, because there's oftentimes no Black Dragon Scales to be found for the entirety of the run, much less in the first few floors of the dungeon. Ooh, and glad we started walking away, though I probably should have actually been even more careful than I was making it out there, because getting netted would have very quickly changed the cadence of this run from a comfortable jaunt through the dungeon to, again, a little bit of that panicked chaos that we've been mentioning on and off throughout the course of the run. Oh my. So many orc priests. There is a good chance that I still could have ended up dead there, so I'm glad that did not end up being the case, but I probably should have walked away the moment we saw an orc priest, instead of, you know, trying to fight all every single one that came our direction. But hey, it all worked out at the end of the day here, so can't really complain all too much. I will immediately swap over to this enchanted leather armor as well, get a bit of fire resistance, plus a couple additional points of armor class. So that is wonderful. And at some point we're going to have to deal with this oak globe. Fortunately, they're all locked away behind the plants, so no extreme rush, and we'll probably actually just wait for access to like a wand that can take care of you. But not exactly the ideal lair entrance, because we'll have to definitely take care of it somehow. Or wait, that's not lair entrance, that's our temple. Oh no. But sir, I need that. I definitely need that. Doesn't look to be, or rather there doesn't look to be a great way of entering into here without putting ourselves in danger, but potentially if we stand here and we can see just how much damage a couple casts of Ice Blast do if they're able to take care of it. Beautiful. And that is very fortunate for us here, because let's do a check for which altars are available. I mean, it's a bit of a shame that Vedhas was not in this temple here, because that was kind of where I was leaning towards. What I should do is bring up my little polytheist table here so I can double check who we have and have not gone victories with. Fortunately, a large number of our qualified candidates have already been spoken for. So potentially we just go with someone like the Shining One. The Shining One generally doesn't come into play too much in a 3-rune run. And on a ranged character, we'd usually be going that direction if we were planning to go for the full 15. But it should work out for us. At the end of the day, we could always pivot as well later down the road to someone like Jivia or Luganu. As much as I hate abandoning any god, sometimes needs must and all that good stuff. So with that in mind, I think we will worship the Shining One here. Somewhere in here, there you are, my good friend. And let's just worship there before we have any second thoughts and decide to change our mind. Always makes decision making a little bit easier when I rush myself through it and don't give my brain time to come up with the multitude of complaints that it is bound to for any given option or decision. And this might be manageable enough. I don't like that we're taking spear shots from our Gnoll friend while fighting off the Hound, but unfortunately seems to be an occupational hazard at the moment. And I probably should do something to curtail this now. We're at only 18 health, so these Sons of Guns could definitely start hitting us beyond our means of survival pretty dang quickly here. So I think what we will likely do is actually Lignify. Gets us a little bit of additional health plus a decent amount of additional armor class. And then hopefully our bow starts hitting at some point. There we go, that's much better. And we're able to clear out the rest of these bothersome Sons of Guns without too much of an issue, so that is fantastic. Oh, and then we almost immediately find ourselves in a painfully familiar situation, but this time around not quite as difficult to deal with. Cloak of Tenacity. The willpower minus, so losing willpower is not really an option. Usually pretty much non sequitur when it comes to artifacts. I guess if we really need the resistance from negative energy, we could still carry it around for the time being here. Have it as a backup option. Though chances are we'll just be leaving that by the wayside, even for just an unenchanted cloak to give us a little bit of additional defense. Okie dokie. Well, so far, it's been a pretty smooth start to the run, so we can be grateful for that. Now we're kind of hoping to run across at least some kind of demonic enemies. That's the only way that we can really be gaining piety with our holy god here. Ooh. Or I will pick up some leather armor of cold resistance. Now we have a bit of utility to swap between our two different leather armors when necessary. I probably shouldn't bother fighting Grinder here, actually. A little bit dangerous just because of their paralyze. But fortunately, because we are able to take care of them, it's a wonderful boost in experience. So it all kind of works out at the end of the day. And we'll just, I guess, keep on welcoming all of our new friends one by one. Blork the Orc as well. Oh my gosh. Never get a full rest in as somebody keeps popping around the corner any given opportunity. And we did get an Euphetibus there, so the demonic enemies do begin showing up just in time for us to gain a little bit of favor with good old Shining One here. And not too shabby. A Barding will not be useful for us here. Ooh, and Maurice is coming along as well. I mean, you shouldn't be too bad to deal with. 60 health is a bit much. And I'm pretty sure that, in fact, I can confirm it by seeing the threat level of lethal here. The purple background that enemies get for having special objects, in this case a Wand of Paralysis, supersedes the like red outline of, oh, ooh, this is definitely a scary and dangerous enemy. So, should definitely just be cognizant of that. And let's actually just take our Howler Monkey friend alone upstairs, and we will probably swap out here to a different stairwell for the time being. See if we can't get just a little bit more experience before we come face to face with Maurice once more. And hopefully in the next time we do so, they will also be on their own and a little bit more manageable for us to handle. But we shall see, I guess. Never know. There's the Fedhouse altar that I was looking for earlier. And we can do a bit of an archer duel, which we are doing worse than I would hope. So I think we're going to resort to a little bit of cheating there at the end, dishonoring the honor of bow combat to just use a bit of wand action to make sure that we're living to tell the tale, staying in one piece. Oh, I do have something I can do here. I just head down into the lava pit, use and abuse the fact that we're currently able to fly. Maurice? Oh no. Well, no idea where Maurice went. I guess what we should do is switch over to a See Invisible ring. That would make sense. And hello? Sir? Oh no. Oh, there you are. Perfect. If you could come right this way, please. Wand of Paralysis. Annoying, but shouldn't be a deal breaker at the end of the day. And then, even though we're continuing to get paralyzed, fortunately, does not impact our ability to fly. Oh wait, you're shooting bows too? Oh my gosh, I did not realize we had a fellow archer in the building. That's less than ideal. Here I was hoping to take advantage of the lava pools to the fullest extent. Hey Cayman, how's it going? Frogman indeed here. Hopefully can keep them alive slightly longer. 64% chance to blow your mind, Maurice. I guess we could just try to leave this encounter. Ooh, definitely not going great for us. So let's scroll butterflies to get some bodies between us and Maurice. And and that should cover our bases just enough for us to backtrack to the stairwell. And then we're gonna have to come up with a different strategy here. Does throwing net work? It probably does. Only 54% chance to hit. And we do miss twice, so glad we didn't attempt to do so in slightly more dangerous conditions. Though, it is very unfortunate to immediately fail that check twice here as well. Did you pick up my net, Maurice? It's also unfair that you're also paralyzing us while sending on the slew of arrows. Probability is fake. You're right, we should just manifest our own luck here. And if we believe hard enough. Never tell us the odds and all that good stuff, but I think what we will do is just ice blast you over and over again before mind blasting you, and that will do the trick, fortunately. If you flip a coin 2 times, you must get heads, right? Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's how 50% chance work. Fortunately, we live in a perfectly deterministic universe, so every single time expected returns are met with 100% accuracy. So yes, if you flip a coin and you get tails, the next time you flip it will be heads, guaranteed. Because that's definitely how probability works, right, folks? And you know, we kid about this, but I feel like that is actually kind of how the human brain understands probability, so it's not too far off to joke about that being the expected result for anyone, really, or for any human to think about. But okie dokie, we will start to jump away as our Steam Dragon friend comes this direction. Oh gosh, sir, please. I thought you'd lost track of us in the chaos of it all. But okie dokie, instead we're just gonna have to go with the paralyze, switch to a dagger, and start stabbing you over and over. Fantastic. I mean, Steam Dragon scales, AC remains unchanged, so just because we got some enchanted body armor means that that is no longer quite as pleasant as an option, or I guess intriguing as an option as it otherwise could be, but we will, on the other hand, definitely put on a helmet right away. That's fantastic. And hopefully we can just safely make it through the next few rounds of enemies here. Shouldn't be too much left here on D8. At least one can hope and dream. Ah. You kids might be a slight problem. You know what? I think we're gonna have to Divine Shield. Pretty decent chances that it fails, but at least gives us a little bit more defensive capability when it does finally work on the second attempt there, so that's wonderful. And in fact, I think we will potentially turn on invocations just a little bit to start getting that trained up, so that by the time we find ourselves with Cleansing Flame and the ability to call on Holy Warriors, we should be pretty much set to use those as soon as they appear, so that would be wonderful.